Unfortunately, today I see a lot more people playing to not lose than I see actually playing to win. There's a big difference between the two, although it might sound the same to you. A couple years ago, I was having this conversation with my then 8-year-old son, and he could not comprehend what my husband and I were trying to explain to him. But there is a big difference between playing to not lose and playing to win. I'm going to highlight 4 pitfalls that I see happening regularly in our society today, and definitely with some of my coaching clients. The first pitfall that I see a lot of people doing is to only look at the other guy. You look at your immediate competition versus looking at the big picture. What you want to do is you want to decide, what are you trying to achieve? What is your overall objective that you want to accomplish? In doing that and keeping your eyes focused on the goal, you will have much greater success than if you just look at your nearest competition or the other guy. The example that immediately comes to mind for this is one from my child. When my son was finishing elementary school, he wanted to be the fastest kid in that elementary school. He genuinely did have a great shot. Here's where he fell short. When it came time to do the mile run that was being recorded for their PE assessments, he ran and he made sure that he was ahead of the guy behind him, and not just by a little bit, by several lengths, right? He definitely made sure that he was well ahead of the next fastest person in his class. What he didn't think about, though, is that there were other PE classes, and he was playing to not lose to the guy behind him versus trying to win the fastest time in the school. And he also didn't run his hardest. What he did is he just made sure that he was like 7 lengths ahead of the next fastest kid in his class. That being said, the boy that was the fastest boy in the school that year ran a 6.5-minute mile. And the sad reality is my son might have been able to do that if he had been aware that that was the actual target he was looking to beat. When we look to the people around us, we forget to look at what it is that we really want to achieve. So remember, keep your eye on the prize, stay focused on what it is that you really want to accomplish. Don't worry about the other guy. This leads right into pitfall number 2. Pitfall number 2 is defensive thinking. I have a great example from a friend in corporate life. I had a conversation with him several months ago, and I was asking him, hey, how's your life going? What's going on? And he tells me, work sucks. It's terrible. I'm not happy at all. I feel dismissed, discouraged, like a cog in the machine, and I don't want to be here anymore. I said to him, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What's the next step for you? And frankly, he couldn't answer that question. He thought he was answering that question, but what he kept telling me was, well, if the company does A, I'll do B. If the company does X, I'll do Y. If the company does F, I'll do G. And I said, whoa, pump the brakes. I don't care what the company's going to do. What are you going to do? What do you want? And he could not answer the question for me. He was too focused on defensive thinking. It was difficult and challenging for him to look beyond his current circumstances and look for what he really wanted. I relate to this. As somebody who used to struggle with depression, sometimes I had a hard time of looking beyond the dark circumstances that I was in and even believing that there was a brighter future. I want to encourage you, though, do what it takes. Have a cup of coffee, go for a walk, separate yourself from your space that you're in, and take some time to daydream. Imagine the future that you want. Set a reasonable goal for yourself and pursue that. Pitfall number 3 is fear-based decision-making. I see this a lot, and it's an easy trap to fall into. My own story is that I had an opportunity to be reorged. I managed a department with 2 teams underneath of them. One of the teams was going to be reorged out, and I had an opportunity to go with that team. There was a part of me that had heard amazing things about the leader in that other organization, and there was a part of me that really loved that team. My gut instinct was to go with them. But rationally, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I had a fear of the unknown. I knew who my current boss was. I knew the current platform I would be staying with very, very well. I felt safer there. And even though my gut told me, take the reorg and go with the team and change your organizational position, I didn't do it because I let fear make the decision for me. It was a mistake for a lot of reasons that I won't go into, but I have to tell you that that happens with a lot of us. We disregard our own intuition. We disregard our gut instinct to go for something. And we do that because we're afraid. We're afraid to go into the unknown. We're afraid to really see what's at the other company. We're afraid to start our business. We're afraid to do things differently. We're afraid to stand out. And because of that, we hold ourselves back. That is not playing to win. That is playing to not lose. And that is a big mistake. The fourth pitfall that I frequently see is trying to fit in versus looking to stand out. Sometimes when we are about to have a large amount of success, we start to pull ourselves back. We become afraid of that success, and then we look to fit in. I saw this a lot when I was younger and I had some immediate success, and I got into my first management position and I got my MBA and I started to climb that corporate ladder and I started to make some good money. And people would look at me like, must be nice that you got all that stuff, must be nice that you got help, must be nice that you have a degree. I didn't have help, but I let them think I did because I wanted them still to like me. I wanted to fit in. I started to volunteer for things less. I started to pull back a little bit until I decided that I did want that bigger life, and until I realized that my desire to fit in with these people who were making me feel bad about my success was to my own detriment. And thankfully, my husband talked some sense into me too. But there are a lot of times and in a lot of ways where people will conform rather than excel, rather than develop, rather than grow. That is playing to not lose. You're looking to not lose the safety of your friend group. You're looking to not lose the safety of your family structure. You're looking to not lose security of knowing where you fit in. What you really need to be able to do to win is be willing to volunteer, be willing to put yourself out there, be willing to get uncomfortable, be willing to pursue what it is that you want full force with no constraints. Doing that will get you where you want to be. I think about that with Olympians. Imagine if they always waited and pulled themselves back and didn't push forward for their personal records, but rather constrained themselves so that they would be at the same pace as the rest of their team. Imagine if they didn't go in and put in the extra work. Imagine if they didn't push and hire the coaches and strive. Imagine if they just decided they were going to sit back and watch TV and relax because that's what other people are doing. They would never be the Olympian that they are. It's like this in life too. Choose what it is that you want to excel at, and then don't be afraid of what other people think of you. Just put yourself out there and do it anyway. Those are the 4 pitfalls that I regularly see, and I hope that this is a strong word for somebody who's listening today, because the world needs more people who are excellent and happy at what they're doing. I actually read a quote not long ago that said, "Figure out what makes you come alive and do that, because the world needs more people who've come alive." And choosing to play to win is the path to coming alive. I hope this is helpful to you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.